What's up, folks? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to talk about 50 Cent's documentary album, The New Breed. Now, the thing about this project is it is a documentary and it has segments to it. It has the documentary. Tony Ayo has an interview. There's some music videos on here, including ones that weren't released as singles like Heat and Wangsta, which was kind of only, well, that came out in 2002, but it's good stuff to see there. And then there was just him performing live and that sort of stuff. But if you do have this album, you'll also notice that there are three additional songs on the bonus CD. And the thing about this is these are official. Now I tried to look for it on Spotify and it used to be there, but it's no longer there. And I definitely wanted to review this by 50 Cent because there are some gems in this. This is another 50 Cent project that's going to get a really high score just because I'm proud to say that it's pretty fantastic. Now, there are only three new songs, but they were all 2002, 2003 50 Cent, which basically means Get Rich or Die Trying era. That's, of course, fantastic. So, there weren't any singles that went along with this. It was mostly like a companion piece to the Get Rich or Die Trying album. So, that Get Rich came out in February, this came out in April. Those just like bonus stuff if you just needed absolute more 50 Cent. And obviously you should because that was hot ticket back then. So no single, but the three songs. The first one is True Loyalty. The second one is the G Unit remix to Eminem's 8 Mile Road. The third one is a Dr. Dre production and Scott Storch, and it's called In the Hood. So that's basically pretty slick. We'll just talk about these now. So, um, True Loyalty basically is probably the weakest production on here, but that's not saying much considering they're all pretty damn good. I don't know if I would give this song a 10 out of 10, but I would probably give it like an 8.5 or so. So it's good, but it's not the best 50 Cent song. But it does have Tony Ayo and Lloyd Banks on here, which hearing Yayo back in those days wasn't really that possible just because he went to prison. So he wasn't really on Get Rich or Die Trying, and he wasn't really on the G Unit album that year either. So it was kind of, this is a good taste of what that was like. And then of course Lloyd Banks, who I haven't talked about enough. He delivers two fire verses on here. On True Loyalty and 8 Mile Road. So both of these, I mean, prove that Lloyd Banks, is actually the better rapper than 50 Cent. I mean, 50 Cent's a good rapper also, but Lloyd Banks is probably a couple notches better. He used to be able to keep up with Eminem. So yeah, that's True Loyalty. It's basically about loyalty amongst your dogs and that sort of stuff. Uh, it's strong. I like the topic. Obviously that works. I liked how G Unit rolled tough back then. That was pretty dope. I wish I wouldn't have overlooked this song until recently. But then a song that I was surprised got like the official okay to do, I guess just because 50 Cent was on Eminem's label. So that was the allowance for him to be able to be on 8 Mile Road, which I actually almost like this song better than the Eminem version. I mean, I've heard Eminem's version dozens upon dozens of times, but this is one that if you get tired of that one, but you still like the beat, you might as well fuck with it because it's not a mixtape song. It's on an actual album. That's the main thing there. And Lloyd Banks, he goes first and he nails it, and Yayo has some stuff, and 50 Cent's on at the end, and he proves that he could do that beat also. I mean, 50 Cent also, or Eminem did Wangsta, so it's only right that 50 Cent does 8 Mile Road. I'm trying to think. I mean, they just were closely affiliated because Eminem was on, or 50 Cent was on the 8 Mile soundtrack twice. Had some good songs on there, so he returns the favor by doing one of Eminem's songs. So it works pretty well, and it's solid. Thumbs up. This is one of the better. This is the middle song on here. I would give this one a pretty high score. But then In the Hood is probably the best song on here. obviously just because of Dr. Dre production and Scott Storch, but it has just a real creeping. The piano keys on here are just real creeping, and for 2003, I mean, the stuff I've listened to since 2003 kind of makes it a little bit lukewarm in terms of just shock appeal, but it's still a pretty damn good beat. And I would say that that's the best one on here. So, and plus the Brooklyn chick, she seems attractive. I could tell just by her voice and stuff. But yeah, so this is kind of the thing. I mean, it works. So song 3 is the best, song 2 is second best, song 1 is third best, but they're all good. Like I said, they would all get over an 8 out of 10. So I'm going to give this album basically just a 10 out of 10. There's only 3 songs, but me liking all 3 of them and being able to listen to all 3 on regular instances basically promote the fact that it's that good. So that's basically where it's at. Um, Obviously I would head towards the Dr. Dre beat. That kind of works that way. But yeah, there's just good stuff on here. I like the fact that 50 Cent and G Unit were on an Eminem song, and not just that, but it actually saw official release. So that's another perk to that. So that works. And, obviously I could complain and say, oh, I wish there would have been more songs. I wish there would have been more than 3. But I'm kind of glad that this even happened to begin with, just because 50 Cent had just dropped an album. It probably would have been too much with this project and then the G Unit album, plus the PIMP remix and everything else he did that year. The song with Lil Kim, Magic Stick. So 50 Cent did a lot that year. So I'm glad that he went, past the norm and decided to give us a little extra. So it works for what it is. It would seem like this project's hard to find. But then it probably isn't. I mean, maybe in a record store it's hard to find, but you can probably find it on Amazon. I looked up on there; it's only like $3 or something, so it's the whole thing. But the social score, I'll just give like an 8, just because I mean it's 50 Cent, but there wasn't a single. I mean, you could talk about the Eminem song, the Dr. Dre song, and then the True Loyalty song if you are a fan of G Unit. But I just feel like G Unit has fallen from grace slightly. They've had internal squabbles and just a bunch of like bad marketing techniques, and 50 Cent just plain said he wanted to forget about G Unit. So that's kind of why it might not boil over as well with like the social score and your peeps and that sort of stuff. But if you just want to get nostalgic and dig up some old gems and reflect on like 2005 and 2008 and such, it's a good place to do that. That's kind of the thing. So there you have it.